So a guy once came up to Lionel Richie at an Alabama truck stop and told him, "I met a woman because of your 3 Times a Lady song, and I'm stuck on her now." And I think a lot of you can relate to that guy. Like, for so many, Lionel's songs go hand in hand with that feeling of love, whether you're falling for it, hoping for it, making it.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
But back when Lionel was growing up in Tuskegee, Alabama in the 1960s, times were volatile. It was the time of the Civil Rights Movement, but also the Ku Klux Klan. Lionel remembers listening to all kinds of music, Southern gospel, his grandmother's classical music, country stars like Conway Twitty and the great Buck Owens, and he soaked it all in. Now, when it was his turn to form a band, though, it was mainly all about the F-U-N-K. The Commodores were like a great raunchy bar band, and when they slowed things down, they got even bigger.
So I'm easy, babe.
So dynamite. In the 80s, Lionel went on his own.
All night long.
And we all know what happened, right? Scored a run of top 10 singles that rivaled the success of many of his Motown label mates. He co-wrote We Are the World with Michael, won an Oscar. Today, Lionel's a papa and grandfather to his daughter Nicole's 2 kids. But he's no old fogey, my friends, and the times have changed. So has Lionel. His new record's called Tuskegee, and it teams him up with a host of country legends, everybody from Willie to Shania. And for Lionel, it does bring it all back home.
Yes, I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Please welcome back Lionel Richie.
Man,
How are you?
I'm back.
Good to see you. Welcome back, sir.
You know, I had so much fun the last time. I said, let's repeat that again.
Nice.
Because, that was too much fun.
I'm glad you're back, man. Well, where's the thinking and let's do a duet record? But it's really of my songs and make my songs country songs with country artists. What?
Well, the magic of this was I was thinking, well, what's pop music now? Well, if you go look at the Grammys, every song of the year, every artist of the year is a country artist.
Yeah, it's a lot of that, right?
So I'm thinking, okay, so the melodies are in country. Let's do a country album. Well, do I put out a new country album and then everyone will say, of new songs, Lionel's trying to go country?
Right.
No, don't want that. So I decided what I would do is I'll put out an album of duets with the songs that have already gone country. I'll join my songs. And then the next time around, I'll put out a brand new, new songs. But this just took off and put a face on it that just blew me away.
I mean, the artists that you've got working on this record, were you surprised? I know you're Lionel Richie and you know people,
No.
but were you surprised by getting this?
I was over the moon when you started. I mean, Willie Nelson said yes to Easy Like Sunday Morning. Forget about it.
Also, I mean, the title of this is important, not just because it's where you're from, right? But Tuskegee, but being an African-American man growing up in the South when you did,
Yeah.
and people think country music, because it often has been the domain of white America.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you to get into this?
We didn't, see, when I grew up down there, you have to understand, it wasn't R&B, pop, country, classical, jazz. It wasn't that at all. Those are categories that came later. When you grow up in a hometown, radio was country radio.
Yeah.
We didn't have R&B and pop. We had radio. And on radio, we had Patsy Cline, you had Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
That was radio. And so as time went on, Stax Records came in, Motown came in. But before that, all through from 1 till 12 was country music.
Right.
And then in my grandmother's home, she's a classical piano instructor. So all I heard all day long was Bach, 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 enough to just drive you crazy. And then when I started writing, I didn't realize all those influences, a little bit of 3 Times a Lady, I just didn't know there were categories.
Did you, when you were growing up, I mean, I'm assuming you experienced racism, but how did you experience it? What was it like?
Well, it was funny. My mom and dad, it's funny, they told me this later. Yes, the Klan came right past the house.
Because
We're in Klan country. The Klan came right past the house. The only thing wrong was when the Klan would march that night, they put us to bed early.
So you wouldn't see
So
it.
we never saw it. So, and I always asked them, why didn't you let us see this? They said, because we wanted to teach you that there were no obstacles in your way. If you had seen that for the first time, then you would have always had that as something you had to get over. So I never felt racism until I actually joined the Commodores.
Seriously?
First time we ever experienced anything that had to do with racism, I was with the Commodores.
Well, what happened?
In Mississippi, and I remember we ran out of gas, and it was from here to maybe the camera over there. We just had to push the truck into the gas station, and we pushed it in, and the guy said, "Now you fellas get that piece of garbage off my property." And I said, "Well, we will, sir, as soon as we can gas up." I said, "Get it off my property now."
And you knew it wasn't because you were driving a bad car.
It wasn't because we had a bad car. And so then he said, "I'm gonna call the police." And I said, "Well, yeah, you can call the police, that'd be great, we can get some gas." And then I knew we were in trouble when the guy walked up and said to the gas station owner, "What problems are you having here with these fellas, Jake?" Okay. I guess we have to push the truck off the property.
I want to keep talking about the songs, but you mentioned your grandmother, and I want to go back and play a clip and watch this. This is you with your ladies. Watch this.
Oh, break me out.
You once, you twice, 3 times a lady, and I love you.
1986.
God, that brought back tears, memories. She was the one who actually kind of had such a standard for excellence that she would try to teach me how to play the piano, how to read music. And every time we would stand there, I would study what she was doing. She says, watch me. And then finally one day, I played the piece from beginning to end perfectly. And she said, "I'm not going to teach you music anymore." And I said, "What are you talking about? I just played it perfectly." She said, "Yes, you did. I didn't turn the page."
You weren't reading it.
So I wasn't reading it.
Yeah.
So normally, if you're reading it, you turn the page while you're playing.
Right.
And that was the end of that.
You know, a lot of people who don't know how to read music have a bizarre inferiority complex about it. Did you ever go through that?
Are you kidding me? I mean,
like you were almost done music, right?
Listen, I cannot read or write music, period.
So when you struggled with that, when did you come to terms with it and realize I don't have to? Because many of the greats didn't.
Well, I'll tell you how I came to terms with it. So I walked into the Motown studios, and there's Marvin Gaye sitting right there.
And into the sentence there, I'd be fine with it.
Marvin. And so back then I was known as, "Hey, little brother."
Really?
Thank you very much.
Marvin.
It wasn't Lionel yet, just "Hey, little brother." And so I asked him, "What music conservatory, sir, did you graduate from?" "What?" So I said, "What music school did you graduate?" He said, "No, I can't read music." "You can't read music." "Barry Gordy, what business school did you graduate from?"
Right, Motown Records, yeah.
"You didn't graduate from a university, sir?" "What?" Then, of course, as time went on, "So Paul McCartney, tell me, can you read or write music?" "Yeah." Okay, the answer was ba-boom.
That's an incredible place to be, right? When you realize that it's about how it feels, right?
Yeah, it's all about, can you hear? Well, here's my songwriting course. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for all of you who could just hear my hand hitting this chair, you are not a songwriter. For all of you who can hear a song or a melody playing in your head right now, you are a songwriter.
I hear Flashlight by Parliament when you do that.
There you go. Well, see, songwriter. I mean, in other words, it's not rocket science.
But one can go down the road of arrogance when they are, and it's happened lots before.
Yeah,
Did you ever fight with that?
No. All you need to do is have Nicole Richie, and you will not have arrogance ever again.
But I will say this, at the time when the heat was really on and she was taking a lot of criticism, maybe some of it was even deserved, but what's happened recently is Nicole seems to have righted herself. She's respected in her business.
I saw her one day go into this tunnel. When you start going into drugs and alcohol, we've seen our friends go into that tunnel and they can't come out of that tunnel. Or if they come out, it's a different configuration.
They've been rewired, essentially.
They've been rewired. I watched her walk into that tunnel and go, "I don't want to do this anymore." walk out of that tunnel, and I have to go sometimes. She's a different person. She just made up her mind one day. She went into rehab, and they said, you cannot hang around the people that you used to hang around if you want to really get away from it. And she cut all of her friends off, all the people that were involved in that, off. I mean, I kept saying, don't you want to call them and say hello? No.
Did she get mad at you for saying that? Do you want to
Of
call
course
and
she
say
did.
hello?
Of course. No,
Did you say hello?
No, I didn't say hello.
Okay, right. Oh, that's interesting, though. So, dude, you walked right into it.
Is that on a cue card somewhere?
No.
I mean, where are you?
It's in the cue card.
I'm such a serious conversation.
I want to go back there.
And you go, hello?
But see, because I'm gonna give you a chance to take a break and go even more with that. Because
yeah, okay. Well,
just that. No, the idea of you're looking at her, so that sort of signifies that you're even unsure how to handle her at this point.
Well, remember now, there's a point that when you walk into rehab. By the way, I must tell you, I commend the family because I told her, I said, let me tell you something very frightening. In your lifetime, you're going to lose 2 of your best friends to whatever. I call it an overindulgence of hipness. Someone's going to die in a car accident, someone's going to do a drug overdose, and then that's going to be the examples you'll talk about for the rest of your life to your kids as to why you don't want to be involved in that, right? It's going to happen to you. Of course, when you're 17, 18, 19, of course it's not going to happen because nobody's dead, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, she was just going on her merry way, and then finally, one of her friends died of an overdose. Then 2 of her friends died. And I remember she walked back in the door and she said, how did you know, Dad? And I said, because it happened to my friends. And now you have your 2. And what I was worried about was that one of them was going to be you. I said, so now that we have the examples, do you want to get straight? And she said, where do I have to go?
How did you feel when she said that?
Of course I cried,
yeah.
Of course, dads. And then I remember calling her mother on the phone, and her mother and I hadn't been doing that much talking. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're checking in with Nicole in the rehab together. And I remember telling Nicole, she said, you and Mom are showing up? I said, we're showing up because it's about you. And so it's not about us. And that was the end of that ballgame. Since then, her mother and I have a great relationship. You know, the family's tighter, closer.
Life's crazy, isn't it?
You know, but unfortunately, you have to, as a parent, some days you wake up in the morning and go, I don't want to be this responsible. I'd like to be wild and crazy. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, your kid walks in the door and makes you show up. You have no choice but to be, where's the parent, man? You got to be that person.
It's incredible. Stick around. More with Lionel right after this.
I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your smile. You're all I've ever wanted.
And my arms
are open wide.
The video made my Matthias float. Man, that, when I saw that, I said, you know how much time that took?
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's not only cool, it's ridiculously cool.
Okay, so you've had this life that's obviously been very successful. You've had your highs, you've had your lows, you've had all that. You know, we were talking about the commercial when we were playing P-Funk. You've toured with P-Funk. You've done a lot of stuff. But of all that, Lionel, how is it possible that you were a wardrobe stylist in your career for Nelson Mandela?
Listen, you are just doing too much investigating. Okay,
this guy did wardrobe for Mandela.
Yeah, well, no, but so here's what happened. In life, things happen where you are just standing at the door of history. And so we get the phone call. Nelson's been let out of jail. He's free. He's coming to America. Mandela cannot fly on Delta, American. Right. We don't, okay. Everybody mobilize. Okay, so Lionel, here's his suit size, pant size, shirt size. You got it. Are you kidding me? You know, so, I mean, and we had detail. And by the way, it was done. It was just a matter of you get it done. Yeah. And by the way, how many days did we have? 2.
Oh my God.
He's coming to America.
What'd you get him?
Man, I decked him out, babe. My man was looking good. No, but I mean, honestly, he's so regal. I mean, you have to understand. I mean, what I think I remember most about that period, and I have to say it because it just stunned me. This man has been in prison. He gets out of prison. He comes to America. We're now the California arm of his New York, LA thing. There's a room full of people who want to meet him, and he spots me, and he walks over, and he put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, "Young man, I want you to thank you so much for writing the music and the lyrics that you wrote, because it got me through many days of being in prison."
Heavy.
And I started crying on his shoulder. I mean, he just grabbed me like a dad. I just lost it. I mean, because, you know, you never think in life when you write a song, you actually heard it where?
Yeah.
You know, and you were sitting in solitary confinement for how long? And you were listening to what? You know, it wasn't even the suit. It was about that one word, just, you know.
So great to see you, man.
I got to tell you, man, knocked me out.
Thank you very much.
I'll be back. I like this. This is pretty good.
Anytime. Yeah, you want to talk about bridging the gap and put it together. You got to hear this. You know, some of the greats are working with one of the greats, Tuskegee, the new record from Lionel Richie. We'll be right back.